Hi, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today I'm talking about The Home. I'm gonna be completely honest, I walked into this movie with the lowest expectations. I saw half the trailer and was like, I don't think this movie's for me, and boy am I glad I was wrong. Quick heads up, this review may contain the occasional minor spoiler, but I'll do my best to avoid them because I think this movie is worth checking out. Pete Davidson stars as Max, a troubled young man sentenced to community service at a secluded retirement home. The facility's ominous fourth floor is off limits, but wrapped in mystery, it piques Max's curiosity. As he digs deeper, he uncovers some sinister secrets about the home and its residents. The narrative is fairly straightforward and tightly paced with roughly a 95-minute runtime. At first, I didn't like the pacing and how rushed the intro felt, but looking back, I'm actually very glad that it was rushed. Max was a foster kid and lost his foster brother very young, which is what pushes him to be in trouble with the law. That's the background setup for his character, and I didn't really think it mattered, but by the end of the film, I was proven wrong. I liked that something I thought was insignificant, cheesy, and repetitive actually had a satisfying payoff. I say his background is repetitive because every night within the home, Max has nightmares and dreams of his brother, creepy residents, body horror, and other spooky imagery. The fact that he never gets any good sleep kind of makes me sympathize with him, even more so considering how kind he is to the elderly folks within the home. I thought Max was going to be a punk, and I was surprised to see that he was actually kind-hearted. He turned out to be a protagonist that I felt good rooting for. I don't think Pete Davidson gives an Oscar-worthy performance, but he feels pretty at home in this role and in this film. He has a very unique face with his really dark eye circles, so he perfectly fits the sleep-deprived vibe. I know Pete's largely known for comedy, but after seeing him in this film and Bodies, 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 I would love to see him in some more horror films. I love seeing actors branch out of their comfort zones and grow. The supporting cast and characters were largely good too. John Glover plays Lou, a retired actor. There's also an uncredited actress who plays Norma, and I think she's great. If someone else can find out who she is, throw her name in the comments. Bruce Altman plays Dr. Sabian, the head of the home, and I enjoyed his performance too. Some of the other casting characters were a little more rigid in their performances, but they still got the job done and helped to add to the mystery and tension within the film. Aside from the narrative, one of my favorite things about this movie was the tone. This movie is like a mix of Get Out and Outlast. Outlast is one of the best and scariest horror games I've ever played. You're a reporter trying to investigate an insane asylum, you get in over your head, and now you're stuck trying to escape with your life. That's largely the vibe of this movie. Thankfully, unlike in Outlast, when Max gets the opportunity to fight, he takes it. I mean, he's kind of a curious bystander trespasser, but once shit hits the fan, he takes action. I want to talk more about the tone and why I liked it, but that kind of veers into spoiler territory, so the last thing I'll say about it is that I like the idea that insane asylums or retirement homes are the perfect place to run experiments on people or make them go missing. I genuinely wish we had more movies that explored this setting and theme because this is stuff that genuinely happened in real life. There were lobotomies, insulin coma therapy, electroconvulsive therapy, narcoanalysis, forced sterilization, and eugenics practiced on vulnerable people. That's scary and sad stuff, and I think it makes for a good horror setting like in this film. That said, there were a lot of jump scares. Some of them felt in place and others were downright annoying. I didn't like the jump scares when Max was having nightmares. I also didn't like them when he was thinking of his brother. In other moments when characters were creeping around, I think they worked. Either way, I don't think the jump scares were necessary because the film did a good job of creating tension with the narrative. Plus, the sound design of distant moans, creaking doors, and whispers amplify the tension more than any jump scare could. I don't know if I have anything to say about the score because if I remember correctly, it was largely non-existent. Or maybe it was there and I just don't remember it. I'm inclined to say the score wasn't good and that's why I don't remember it, and that's why this movie also resorted to cheap scare tactics to elicit emotions. That sounds a little harsh, but I'm gonna stand by that. Visually, I think this movie does a good job. There are some poorly lit shots that make things feel amateurish, but then there are a lot of really good shots that feel very professional. I love the long dim halls and the closed off fourth floor. I like the basement of the home and the residents' rooms. I think for the most part, everything was captured pretty well. I couldn't find any information about the budget of this movie, but I'm going to make the assumption that it was fairly low, around a couple of $1 million, because there were some moments where a higher budget would have definitely polished things up. For example, this might be a pacing thing, but a lot of the scene transitions were just fades to black. There were a ton of these and that's fine, I just think the fades to black feel a little cheap. Where the budget really impressed me was the practical effects. It's very hands-on gore. There are tons of prosthetics, fresh blood, and props. They looked great, helped with the immersion, and reminded me of the gore from Outlast. The practical effects were organic and perfectly in place for an explosive climax. So, given the modest budget, I think director James DeMonaco did a great job. So yeah, The Home really surprised me. What I expected to be a forgettable low-budget flick turned out to be a tense, moody, and sometimes even meaningful movie. It's far from perfect, some of the performances are stiff, the jump scares can be obnoxious, and the pacing early on might throw you off, but there's something really compelling here. Between Pete Davidson's performance, the eerie retirement home setting, and the excellent practical effects that go all out in the final act, the film delivers a satisfying and creepy experience. It taps into real-world horrors, uses its setting effectively, and feels like a passion project that knew what kind of story it wanted to tell. If you're into brisk horror with psychological undertones and some gnarly gore, I think The Home is worth your time. Thank you for listening to my review of The Home. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and hit subscribe. If you did not enjoy the content, thank you for sticking around. As always, I would love to read what you have to say, so leave a comment and let me know what you're thinking. Also, if there's something you want to see reviewed, don't forget to let me know and I will do my best to get to it. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, then you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast Good Friends. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Diego and I will see you next time.